All it took was one sentence, one shocking statement from Princess Charlotte, and everything shifted in a setting where every word is measured. Hers hit like a blow directed straight at Queen Camilla. No one could believe what they had just heard. What was meant to be a simple conversation quickly turned into something far more serious, shaking the entire nation. Did Charlotte cross a line, or did she finally say what others were too afraid to voice? Join us as we uncover the truth behind the bold statement of the little princess. Princess Charlotte's unique upbringing. Prince William and Princess Kate have always worked hard to give their children a life that feels real and full of love, even with the constant attention around them. They understand that their family is not like most, but they have never allowed that to stop them from building a home where their children feel free. They want their children to grow up in a house where there is laughter, learning, and strong support. From the very start, they made a choice to raise George, Charlotte, and Louis in a way that gives them a happy childhood, not one weighed down by too many rules. Their goal has always been to keep pressure away from their children for as long as possible. Even though Prince George is expected to become king one day, his parents have gone out of their way to make sure that this future does not affect how the three children relate to one another. They try to treat all of them fairly, no matter what titles or duties might be waiting down the road. William and Kate agreed early on that they would not follow every royal rule too strictly. They wanted to break away from some of the older ways and let their kids grow into who they truly are. They believe that every child should have the chance to explore their own dreams. They know George has a clear path ahead, but they also understand that Charlotte and Louis do not carry that same weight. Because of that, they try to give them more room to find out what they enjoy and where they belong. William and Kate pay attention to how each child is doing, and they take time to make sure that no one is left out. For Charlotte, this freedom means she can grow up and decide what she wants her future to look like. She might one day feel drawn to royal duties, or she might step into something completely different. Whatever she chooses, her parents stand behind her. They have created an environment where she can try new things, grow into her own self, and move at her own pace. She is not being shaped to fit into someone else's idea of who she should be. Instead, she is being given the space to find her own way. Charlotte is full of energy and curiosity. Her parents have always encouraged her to try new activities and enjoy the world around her. They do not want her or her brothers to feel blocked by their royal titles. Instead, they push them to grow with confidence at home. They let the children take part in different hobbies. It is not about what is expected of them, it is about what makes them happy. The children are not being prepared only for duty, they are being raised to live full and joyful lives. Charlotte especially is known for being bold and bright, but people who spend time with her say that she is also thoughtful and caring. She moves between being playful and being serious. She is not just a little girl people's and photos during events. There is much more going on beneath the surface. One of the things that lights her up the most is dance. From a young age, she has taken an interest in ballet and tap dance seems to give her a way to express herself without words. Prince William has shared how much dancing brings her joy. It has become a part of who she is. There is even a strong link to her late grandmother, Princess Diana, who also found joy in dance. This connection makes it even more meaningful for Charlotte. Her parents have made sure she can enjoy this passion without feeling different from other children. In 2022, Kate took Charlotte to ballet lessons in London. They wanted her to feel included and enjoy the classes like anyone else. Those simple things matter a lot to both Kate and William. They showed up like regular parents, waiting outside with the others, not asking for special treatment. They just wanted their daughter to feel part of something ordinary. They made her feel supported, but not singled out. Kate has proudly shared her daughter's love for dancing at different events, but Charlotte's interests go beyond dance. She also enjoys sports and gets excited about football and rugby. Both William and Kate have supported her and these activities. They believe it is important for girls to feel strong and free to join in anything they enjoy. William and Kate are clearly putting in a lot of effort to raise children who are kind, curious, and full of life. They want George, Charlotte, and Louis to grow up knowing they are loved, and that they have the power to make their own choices. The royal roles may be important, but that doesn't mean their childhood should be shaped by duty alone. The couple has worked hard to bring fun, learning, and freedom into daily life. Even though they are part of one of the most well-known families in the world, William and Kate continue to keep their focus on giving their children a safe, warm, and happy home. They walk them to school, show up at their sports events, and help them with schoolwork. All of these actions come together to create a strong foundation. The way they raise their children today could help shape the royal family for the future, but even more than that, it shows their deep love and care as parents. Camilla takes a hit from Charlotte. After months of travel and long schedules packed with official work, the royal family had hoped that May would finally bring a little breathing space. The early part of 2024 had worn them out, especially with King Charles managing both his health and his duties across the Commonwealth. With that in mind, the royal staff planned a break. A full 6 weeks was set aside for the Prince and Princess of Wales to spend time at and Hall, far from London and the never-ending spotlight. Everything was arranged to make the time feel different from their usual routine. There would be no formal events, no cameras, and no public appearances. The family looked forward to staying at their country home, hoping to enjoy a slower pace for once. Soon enough, distant photos appeared in media showing Prince William driving around Norfolk in a large SUV. He was seen going into small village stores, keeping to himself. Catherine, meanwhile, was spotted walking barefoot along Holcombe Beach with the children holding their hands and laughing with them. The family seemed to have dropped their public roles for a while. For about 2 weeks, the atmosphere around Amber Hall stayed light. Security made sure that reporters and photographers kept their distance, and the Wales family finally got a chance to live without pressure. But peace never seems to last long in royal circles. Just when things started to settle, that old feeling of tension began to rise again. The turning point came when Queen Camilla arrived at Sandringham. The official reason was written down as a simple family gathering, but those close to the palace knew better. Her visit had more weight to it than the court records suggested. One of the royal aides later explained that she came with 2 specific matters on her mind. One was about the repair work at Clarence House. The second topic, though, was bound to stir up trouble. Camilla wanted to talk about Princess Charlotte's future at school. In her opinion, Charlotte should move to the same boarding school in Berkshire where Prince George had already started. She believed this kind of school gave children proper structure and taught them discipline. She felt that it had shaped many royals before, and would do the same for Charlotte. But William and Catherine had already chosen a different path for their children. They preferred Landbrook School, which allowed the kids to return home each day. That daily return made it easier for them to grow up in a more balanced and supportive environment. For Catherine, the routine of being home together every evening mattered more than tradition. She felt that the bedtime stories, shared meals, and evening chat helped build a strong foundation in their children's lives. Meanwhile, Camilla didn't wait for the perfect moment. She brought up the school matter while walking near the kitchen garden where Catherine had been sitting alone for a bit. Witnesses said Camilla pointed toward the west, probably in the direction of the boarding school, as if to make her point. Catherine didn't react right away. She sat with her arms crossed, looking off toward the garden beds. There was no raised voice, no argument, just a pause in the air that spoke louder than words. The 2 women stood there, not moving much, as the weight of the conversation hung between them. Then William stepped out of the house holding Charlotte's son had in his hand. His sudden appearance changed the mood. The tension between Camilla and Catherine eased just enough, but it didn't vanish. People nearby could still feel something unfinished in the air. Not long after, a footman who worked close to the family said he heard Camilla speak again, her voice more serious. She talked about how strength in a royal child often came from time spent at boarding school. The comment made her position even clearer, and then, without warning, young Charlotte stepped forward from behind a tree near the garden wall. No one had realized she was listening to gardeners working nearby heard her voice. What she said was brief, but it had an unexpected effect. She spoke plainly, saying she didn't need any school to show her how to be a princess. She wasn't trying to prove anything. The words came out naturally, like something she had already made up her mind about. Those nearby stopped what they were doing. William reached down and placed a hand gently on her shoulder. He didn't say anything, but he didn't need to. Camilla didn't reply. She looked at Charlotte for a second, took a slow breath, and turned around. Without another word, she walked back inside the house. Within minutes, her cars appeared in the driveway. The sound of tires on the gravel stretched through the trees as her convoy drove away from the estate. No one raised their voice. No one made a scene. But something had definitely shifted. What began as a visit to discuss house repairs had turned into something heavier, something more emotional. The royal family had once again shown how their days, even the quietest ones, could suddenly take a different turn. A child's small voice had changed the mood entirely. She hadn't meant to stir things up, but she had spoken from her heart. And in a family where tradition often shapes everything, that simple moment had left a deeper impact than anyone expected. Princess Charlotte bravery. At exactly 10 o'clock that morning, everything suddenly shifted. It started with a short and puzzling message from the royal editor of the Daily Courier. The words were few, but it didn't take long before other news outlets caught on. Something involving Princess Charlotte had happened, and no one seemed ready to explain it. Kensington Palace chose to stay completely out of the way. Clarence House gave a small response that didn't really explain anything. They tried to play it down as if people had misunderstood something, but their refusal to give any clear answer only added more pressure. By lunchtime, nearly every national paper and TV show picked it up. Phone calls came pouring into radio shows. Everyone wanted to talk. People started calling Charlotte our little lioness, and the news spread faster than anyone expected. Hashtags like Princess Charlotte says no and Boarding Gate appeared and caught fire. More than 40 countries joined the conversation. Everybody had something to say, but nobody really knew what the full truth was. On television, royal watchers studied slow-motion clips that seemed to show Camilla walking away from Sandringham Estate with the from look on her face. Online memes popped up fast. One image showed Charlotte dressed in shining armor, like a young warrior standing strong against a cartoon version of Camilla wearing a crown shaped like a dragon. These images made people laugh, but underneath the humor there was tension. People behind palace doors felt strongly. They could tell this wasn't just another news story. Inside private group chats, one diplomat brought up a memory from years ago. He compared the growing trouble to the Hama Dam disaster of 1979. He reminded others how a small crack had once led to a major flood. The idea behind his message was simple: what starts small can get out of hand if it's not handled early. Soon the royal press teams gathered for urgent meetings. They had no clear path forward. They didn't know if they should deny the whole story, keep quiet, try to protect Camilla, his image, or support Charlotte openly. After a long wait, they finally made a choice. One short statement was released. It said that Princess Charlotte would continue her education at Lanbrook School in the upcoming term. Nothing more, no other explanation. But that short message was enough to spark even more interest. People took it and filled in the missing details with their own guess. That single sentence became a point of discussion all over the world. Charlotte has been at the center of public attention from the beginning. Her first public moment was outside the hospital, wrapped in a soft white shawl. That simple piece of fabric sold out online in just over an hour. From that day on, people started talking about something they now call the Charlotte effect. Whatever she wore became popular. Designers followed her fashion choices. Shops stocked clothes like hers. Some experts believe her influence could bring in billions for the British fashion market. But behind all the numbers and news, Charlotte lives a normal life at home. Charlotte's education has also been different from that of other royals. Her parents, William and Catherine, chose a nursery where boys and girls learn together. Later, they picked a school with the same setup. They drive her to school in a hybrid car. Lambroke School is known for its modern way of teaching students there. Learn things like Latin, hockey, and how to take care of nature. The school doesn't use big old dormitories. Instead, it focuses on support learning and giving students space to grow. William and Catherine have both tried to raise their children in a way that gives them room to grow emotionally. They've said before that they want their children to enjoy their childhood and they're not in a rush to push them into royal duties. They want to wait until the time feels right. That's why many people believe Charlotte's actions at Sandringham weren't just random. Some experts, including a child psychologist from Cambridge, gave their thoughts. She said this kind of parenting helps kids understand how to speak up when something doesn't feel right. Charlotte's behavior that day didn't come from drama or disrespect. It came from knowing how to set boundaries. That strength likely came from her parents. They didn't raise her to stay in the background. They taught her to speak clearly, to stay strong when she needed to, and to think before acting. That day at Sandringham showed that those lessons had taken root. Charlotte wasn't trying to cause problems. She was simply using what she had learned to stand her ground. Now she continues with all school life at Lambrook. She's surrounded by family, supported by friends, and still very much in the public eye. But with each step, she's growing into herself. Bit by bit, she's building her own path, one that doesn't rely only on her name or position, but on the values she's learning and the confidence she's already shown learning from experience. Queen Camilla often speaks based on what she went through when she talks about the idea of boarding school. She started her own school journey when she was just 10, joining Queen's Gate School. It wasn't always smooth, and at times the rules and tough routines made things harder than she expected, but she managed to push through. Looking back, those years shaped how she handled later challenges. People around her believe those early days helped build her strength, especially when the media kept targeting her in the 1990s. She didn't give up when public opinion turned against her. That experience seemed to stay with her. Those close to where think Camilla sees boarding school as something that helps build a stronger mindset. They say she hopes Princess Charlotte can also grow into someone who knows how to stay firm even when life gets rough. She doesn't just focus on rules or neat uniforms. What matters to her is how a child learns to deal with tough days and how to grow up with independence. That is why she keeps bringing up the idea of sending Charlotte to a boarding school, even though others don't really feel the same way. Still, Camilla holds on to that view, thinking it might be the best way forward, but not everyone agrees with her. Many people think the world has changed a lot today. Children face different eagles, their social media pressure to fit in, and more focus on being open with emotions and learning how to talk about feelings. Some people believe being firm and strict doesn't always help anymore. The difference in opinion about what's best for Charlotte has been there for a while, long before the public picked up on it. Back in November 2024, Camilla was seen at a special lunch at Buckingham Palace. The event was held for women in literature. Someone who had attended that day said Camilla made a comment about how boarding school dorms help children bond, while day schools, in her view, often made them too attached to home. That one comment ended up reaching people who were not even at the lunch. Palace staff passed the remark to Prince William and Princess Catherine. Instead of fighting back or making a big deal, they just saw it as something from a different time, a different kind of thinking. They didn't want to turn it into a conflict. But that didn't stop Camilla from moving forward with her thoughts. By spring she had gone even further. She raised the idea directly with King Charles. A private note from Clarence's house showed how serious she had become. That memo was not supposed to be shared outside the small circle, but someone still talked about it afterward. Camilla had drawn up a plan. She wanted Charlotte to begin her introduction to boarding school life slowly. Her goal was to start in the middle term of 2024. But King Charles didn't give her a straight answer. He said the family needed more time to talk things over. Prince William, however, made his feelings clear. During lunch at Sandringham, things finally reached a boiling point. The atmosphere turned heavy, and the subject could no longer be brushed aside. That day stood out because something definite happened. Someone who used to work with the royal family remembered that William said something final. He made it clear that boarding school was not going to be part of Charlotte's life. That moment didn't just pass by, it stayed in people's memories and was spoken about later. Is something that showed where the family stood on the matter. Whatever Charlotte felt during that tense period, she didn't say much, but the issue grew and the weight of the past added more pressure. After that strong pushback, Camilla didn't let it show in public. She kept doing her royal duties. She opened a new school, helped with a fundraiser at the Chelsea Physic Garden, and hosted a lunch for cancer charities. She showed up, smiled, and went through each event as expected. But in some photos,